dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, the Pisces life. Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, 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 the Pisces life.
Welcome to the 151st episode of the Pisces Life podcast. We're just two fish living our dreams in these podcast streets. You know by now we are in these podcast funded, grant funded streets. We like to be clear around here. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. A few dollars done swam upstream and we caught them, didn't we, since we had them on the hook?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Hey, I'm your girl. IamJust, Letitia.
Deposited those funds quickly. Yes.
Very.
Yes.
And we're thankful.
Very thankful. And I'm kind of love, just in case y'all did not know. But how could you not know? Because y'all have been listening to this show forever. Y'all know who he is, but we got some special guests in the bill. Y'all know we like
guests. We love guests. Do. And it's so fun because, like we tell you all the time, you don't know who we know.
Exactly.
You don't know what information about to bless these ears. Okay?
Come on.
This show right here tonight, this is for those of you who have been living up under thine roof with all thine people and also all thine life up under that roof.
Yes.
Shout out to the mothers out there and the fathers out there that are working from home, trying to keep the home.
Come on now.
Trying to keep the lights on at the home and the internet and the children and folks learning from home. Oh, it's a different day. Rona, you have came in here and snatched life as we knew it.
Speak on it, sis. I'm failing at this. I'm failing.
Did they send a report? Because they good at that.
They will send one just when you think you've done the right thing. Here come saith progress reported.
To dispute.
And we were like, all three of us. We were like, so you have tests?
Oh, y'all giving tests out for this during the pandemic. Oh, I see. So there is testing during the pandemic. Thank you for clarifying.
And I don't know if it's just me because all of the time is mushing together, but it seemed like the quarters used to be longer or something.
Listen.
It just seemed like he just got his report card the last time. Why did we have a progress report so quickly? We didn't have time to recoup from the Christmas report card.
Come on.
We still don't know what he learned. Again, we have no evidence that he's actually in sixth grade. We know that he's in the sixth grade class. We have no evidence what happened between fifth and sixth grade. Like, was there notice? Like, was there like a you pass? We don't know. We didn't sign nothing. We ain't talk to nobody. We was just like, well, you 11. We think that's sixth grade. Let's go.
Listen, I'm going to tell you the best advice one of my friends gave me. He was in a similar boat. Is your computer access still working? And do you see somebody else different in front of the camera teaching your child?
Yes.
That would indicate to me that there has been a progression of grade. I'm satisfied. Get over there, boy.
Yes.
Get over there.
Yes. Please.
Listen, people trying to do the best they can. And we have found the best to hopefully help you get your life together. We are talking tonight about education in these Corona streets. Woo.
And doing a bad job with it. I hope that by the end of tonight, one, I'm rid of the guilt, and two, I get some tips because I'm trying to be a good parent over here in these streets.
The village is on full alert. Listen, I had a child in here reading the other day. Yes, baby, via Facebook, you know.
Tutoring them.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say tutoring. It was more active listening because, you know, this was the first time the child had seen somebody outside of her household. So, hey, you want to play Roblox? I'll show you. Hold on. I'll send you an invite. Oh, girl. Baby, I can't. That's a link in Facebook. I can't. Auntie can't do that.
Wait, it's called Roblox? I thought it was Roblox. Wait a minute.
Girl,
Like
it's the way the child spelled it. I went phonetic. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. That's the reason why I was delivered right
I
there.
thought
I was
it was
like,
Robux. I thought it was Robux because my nephew has asked me for money for it. I said, "What is that?" Robux.
Oh, yes, they want them coins for it.
Yes.
Well, listen,
So,
let's
yeah,
get you
Robux.
on the microphone formally.
Sorry.
yes.
That's all right. We have two guests, and we want y'all to chime on in because we got the current events, and then we're going to get to it about education in the time of Corona.
So y'all have already heard her nephew wants some Robux, and I believe from her tone she was like negatory. So we want to bring on one of our first guests. Full disclosure, this is one of my BFFs, my shippy ship as we call each other. Not quite frick and frack, but more like frack and frack, I would say, because when she rocking, I'm rocking too. When she rolling, I'm rolling too. So I want to introduce to y'all my soror, an educator extraordinaire. This is Rhea Bickham. Rhea is an instructor and proctor for ServSafe. She is an adjunct professor at Joliet Jr College, and she's a quantum learning facilitator. Y'all give it up for Rhea Bickham. Boop, 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 boop. Rhea, you got something to say to the people?
Right. Hello. Good evening. Good evening, peoples. Hey.
Hey.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
All right, sis, introduce our next guest.
Most definitely. So full disclosure as well, this is one of my BFF right here, honey. One of my longest term friends. And I do mean that, like literally from the cradle, pretty much. Our parents were best friends. Even our fathers went to preschool together and were neighbors growing up. So like we go way back, and we ended up in the same state. Not far from each other, really. At all. Please welcome Precious.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited. I mean, we're gonna get it all hopping up in here with this conversation tonight.
Absolutely. So Precious is bringing just a wonderful, I call it the trifecta. She has teaching experience. She has administrative experience. She has wife and bonus mommy experience as well. She's also a current doctoral student. When I tell you we be knowing people who be knowing stuff, we be knowing people who be knowing stuff, okay? So she's in the know in terms of that. And also, how long have you been in education? Special education was her, what do I say, specialization? I hate saying special.
That is my primary area, and that's where I've spent the majority of my career. And this is year 20 for me in education. This is year 4 as an administrator, and I spent 16 years as a direct service provider. So I've been in these trenches, in these streets for a long time.
Listen, well, we brought experience to the microphone.
Absolutely.
Because right about now, it's taking experience with the new school in the pandemic to forge a real good partnership here. So listen, we've got some things tonight that are going to hopefully make that better for you. But before we get there, girl, it is so much jumping off up in this news. Can we talk about this? We have a new president.
Yes, we do.
Praise God.
We have a new vice president.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a brand new cabinet situation, including the press secretary that does briefings that actually tell the truth and hashtag facts.
Yes. Yes.
Imagine that.
I mean, it ain't even been 7 full days. You hear me? But things is already happening.
Yes.
But there is just one thing I do need to happen a little bit quicker. Baby, that is the pronunciation of these folks' names. I have to do this recap and replay right quick. The news anchor comes on. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. The new presidential motorcade for number 46 coming down. This is the moment. We are about to see the actual new, there he is. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, President of the United States, Joe Biden. And she just like, wait, I guess she thought we were clapping at home, which I was, so I appreciated the pause. Then she says, oh, and his beautiful wife, our new first lady, doctor. That is correct. She is an EDD, which is a doctor. I said, educate the people and then introduce, great, Jill Biden. But baby, when she came to the next guy, and now the historical moment, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. Vice President Kamala.
No.
Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Ishmael. Look, there they are. The second first gentleman. There they are. Girls, mothers, grab your girls. Kamala Harris is just, and I couldn't be met. There was so much reverence there. I couldn't be as angry, but we need the people to pronounce the names, right?
Well, the first, it's so interesting when it comes down to name pronunciation, as much as, especially in the educational space, they, ridicule children and redirect them from, mispronunciations. Like, there's this whole segment of education when we had, what's our brother, Dr. Kirkland on,
Yes.
where we talk about basically the punishing of Black and brown bodies for pronunciation.
Yes.
Yet in mainstream white America, they all get to have the pass. We're just not used to saying it. Last I checked, sis been running.
Okay.
And if you are a news anchor person at this point, especially considering we have footage of her being disrespected by elected officials, saying her name wrong and inappropriately on purpose, that you would take some care. Now, I don't know, sis, who, she might have just been excited, tongue flattened out.
I think so.
But she should have been in the mirror in the morning, like herself doing her little affirmations. She's like, I am whole. I am enough. Kamala Harris. I am whole. I am enough. Kamala Harris. Like, just.
We should do that in the mornings. I like that, actually.
So, because at this point, I'm going to give her a pass for excitement. But I just want them all to do better. I want people to be reverent with our vice president.
I agree wholeheartedly. Ladies, where were you when inauguration happened? How are you feeling about it? PJ, you want to go first?
I was sitting in my living room watching and tearing up. I couldn't stop the tears from coming because I thought, who free at last from that idiot?
Oh,
and
amen.
Praise God for the first woman of color and D9 member. I was like, come through. So I was just ecstatic, but at home.
I amen to that. Now, I will say some of the AKAs I know have just been insufferable. Oh, they've been insufferable. They have just, they just ski-weeing all up and down my timeline, knowing I'm a Delta. You see we the second in command of the whole United States belongs to. I say, you know what? Have your glory. Have it. Because it's possible. A whole lot just became possible. Look, I want somebody to run. We got to get another Delta. We got to get a Delta.
What you talking about? I need a Sigma Gamma Rho. What you talking about now?
Listen, we just going to run the Divine Nine from now on in that spot. That's pretty much what it's looking like to me.
Just get them all up in
Amen.
there. All up in there. And shout out to our soror, Marsha Fudge.
Yes.
Who finally someone credible and appropriate appointed to a cabinet position and seat.
Okay. And Sora Brenda Lawrence as well. She's advancing quite nicely. I haven't, I think she got a little something covered. I'm just waiting. It's just been so much news. Miss Rhea, what about you? What did you think about inauguration? Where were you?
Well, actually, I was at work in the building.
Okay.
We do not currently have our students in the building, but teachers are able to go up. So I happened to be in the building that day. And so I was not able to watch it moment by moment live.
Okay.
We had plenty of discussion about it. And I was very excited and geeked. They know. So I was very excited and geeked about just the entire day and our transition. Now, it's a very dark chapter that we just came out of. And the remnants of that will continue, actually. I mean, just because we have a new administration, there are things that will linger or for time to come. However, I did see the highlights when I got home, and of course, everything was all about Michelle. Come through,
baby.
my first one. Okay, always be my first lady. But when you mentioned Kamala's name, I explained that to students. We talked about the importance of a name. I explained to them on every year. We have a whole discussion about the importance of your name. Your name is important. And I said, make sure, I always get it right. Make sure everyone else gets your name right. If we can pronounce Petrowski,
yes, and
we can pronounce all these other names, then we can surely pronounce. And I heard her herself, Madam Vice President, explain on the air how to pronounce her name correctly. And she said, think of it like you would think the comma in a sentence, like a period. So she said, comma, Kamala. So that's exactly how I remember it, how I explain it to others.
Yes.
Kamala. If you cannot pronounce it right, that's okay. Just say Madam Vice President.
Right. Now there you go. Boom. And on that note, boom. What's in the name? Everything. You heard
everything.
Yeah. Yes. Moving on to another piece of news. There was a versus battle. It was like the rescheduled schedule?
Of the reschedule, of the remix of the reschedule.
Between Ashanti and Keisha Cole. Now, we aunties, I mean, yes, special guests, me and my good sis here, we refer to ourselves as the aunties on this show. We half the time we don't know what's going on with these young folks. So we understand that the verses for us was Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. This kind of Ashanti, Keisha Cole, although, we know the songs here and there, just not the same energy. Were y'all interested in this verses? Did y'all hear about what had happened?
I went to bed. That did not register as something for me to stay up for, and to find out that one of them showed up like an hour late, what have you. I was like, I'm straight. See, because y'all was going to have me upset, because if I'm going to be up past my bedtime, I'm going to need there to have actually been something worth it.
Yeah.
So, no, I went to bed.
I love it.
Rhea, do you have a favorite Keisha Cole or Ashanti song?
I don't particularly like Ashanti like that. I could care less. I mean, I liked it when she was in Coach Carter. I liked it in Coach Carter. But in terms of singing, I really don't care. Keisha Cole, like the beginning of Keisha Cole, before all the drum, I don't know, she got high in I don't know what happened, but I liked her in the beginning,
Yeah.
But still was not interested in watching the battle. I was okay. I was good with hearing the highlights.
I hear that.
Me.
What about you, sis?
Me as well. So I have some Keisha Cole songs, like Keisha Cole's first album, similar to Rhea.
Yes.
We used to bump that on the way through the club, you know what I'm saying?
Right? That was the tune up, especially if you was coming off a breakup.
Exactly. But I had a Keisha Cole concert experience prior that left a little bit of a, kind of negative taste in my mouth, if you will. Keisha Cole we were in Jamaica, and there was a series of artists that were going to be performing over 3 days. So like Blackstreet, they had comedians like Bill Bellamy. It was something that was part of like the Michael Basin show when he used to, do like the grown and sexy travel to Jamaica, whatever. So me and my other best friend, we had went. And Keisha Cole was an opening act for D'Angelo or something like that. I think it was.
Oh, wow.
And the sound similar to on the verses where I read that the sound wasn't good. The sound was kind of messing up and she was trying to get it together and couldn't get it together. And when I tell you that she had a full meltdown on the stage, cursed out all the sound people, kicked the mic, grabbed her towel and her water and stormed off. And this is before her album was out. Like maybe she had a little traction in some markets, but I had no idea who she was. And about 99% of the people who was in the audience, who is of the like Frankie Beverly and Maze echelon fan, was like, who this little girl?
Right.
What's she mad? What she do? Like, she was like, just so, like, her energy was so like, and I understand,
Salty.
you know, a woman that has kind of a prickly, you know, people say they might be a little prickly, a little
Sure.
sassy, a little tough, you know, I don't
Right.
mind that. We all love Mary J. Blige for that very reason. But there is also kind of some like a respect that she should have had for the audience. We didn't, you know, make the sound be bad or whatever. And
Right.
ever since then, I was just like, you know, I'm not sure about
Mm-mm.
her. I watched her little reality TV family show. What was that? Frankie and Neffy.
Frankie and Neffy, baby.
Mhm.
Frankie and Neffy, and now Elite.
Oh Lord. But other than that,
Yes.
you know, when it came, it went. I was like, oh, and people were saying that it wasn't that good, and they only had 1 million viewers for their verses, which is on the low side. So,
Well, I fell asleep. It had been scheduled and rescheduled, and not that I just really wanted to be there for the commentary. I find it funny that everybody watches verses on Instagram, but they comment on Twitter. So I just be there for the comments. So I knew it was already going to be a mess when they said that she was like an hour late, but it was the sound situation again. What I did see in the recaps was just their energy. I mean, this battle had that energy that people thought Monica and Brandy were going to have, but I don't even think that it was that tame. That would have been tame compared to the energy that Ashanti and Keisha Cole had. They just really had some different dynamics, which leads me to this next point. It inspired a whole lot of kids to get on TikTok, and they doing their own challenges, and that's another downside to everything being at home and everybody being at home. There are all these new, you know, what's the latest one? Precious just put me on to a Clubhouse.
oh yes.
I don't know what it is exactly still. I'm nervous about it. I got a little bit better understanding. But I tell you, it can either go down in the Clubhouse or it can be very useful. You could be a billionaire and hear from other people who are billionaires, or you can hear them ratchet hotels or something. What is this? Jasmine Sullivan doing? Anyway, girl, everything is changing and it's under the same roof. What are we going to do?
Rhea,
How
have
we
you
gonna
heard
make
of
it?
Clubhouse? Because see, Rhea is just for the audience to know. Rhea knows everybody in America. Like she's
Yeah, right.
really the people's champion. She's the mayor of all cities, yours included. If there is an elected official. We were out the country on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and I heard somebody yelling, "Rhea!
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where we go. Anytime we go out of town, Texas, Florida, DC, Vegas, there is somebody that knows Rhea. So
That's beautiful. I love it.
I think I heard that you have to get invited into the Clubhouse. Like someone has to like give you an invite.
Yes.
Rhea, have you been invited
Yeah.
to the Clubhouse?
No, not as of yet. Not as yet.
Do you know anybody?
I actually just got a whiff of what that was. So again, I'm trying to catch up. I try to keep up, but I just got a whiff of what that was just recently. So no, I'm not.
Well, we'll
Precious, you love it, right?
No, I love it. I have a blast.
Oh,
You can either sit in on a conversation like Letitia was saying. You could either have where it's millionaires in the room, it's, you know, celebrity TEDx folks in the room, and they're spitting knowledge. You could be on the stage, which is being able to converse with them in that space. Or you can host a smaller room or be in a smaller room with like 50 people or less and just be kicking it around a topic. You know, now I go in there to learn stuff and engage with folks. Some folks get on there to get their extra on. You know, they in the moan room, and you know they trying to connect us with folks. I have to call that Clubhouse after dark. That's not for me. I my ear's not meant for all that. I stumbled into a room one night and was like, oh, hold on, I got to get out. It's too much.
Look, do people know you came in the door though? That's what I need to know.
They might see you in the audience, but you can leave out quietly. And I was hoping nobody saw me. I was like, Lord Jesus, I don't want anybody to know I was there. I didn't know. I just read the little title and jumped in the room and was like, oh, and I was like, oh no, that's not right.
You had shared with me offline too that there were some opportunities that you had to connect with other educators and whatnot, and just getting into that space. So there's some business that can happen there too, you know. So you just did a presentation, a roundtable, didn't you?
So I host a room on Sundays, and so when you host a room, you're selecting a topic. And you can host it through a club. Clubs have followers. And so like the one that I most often host a room with is Teachers Lounge. And it's got like 3,000-4,000 other educators that are a part of that club. So they follow it. And so you host a room on a given topic, and then you set your time on a calendar, just like you're doing a Google invite, but it doesn't go out. It just goes out on the app. And so with that, people jump in. You start the room at your appointed time. People jump in. When they jump in, you see them in the audience. You can invite people on stage. They can ask to come up on stage. To be on stage is to have your voice, to have your mic live. And so you can engage in the conversation. You have people moderate the room. When you host a room, you're a moderator. So you're facilitating the conversation, calling people up to be able to take their mic off of mute and engage in the conversation. And what's really neat is like you can really connect with people from around the world. I've had folks in rooms that I was hosting from the UK, from South Korea, from Germany. And what's neat is the rooms I'm typically in are the educators' rooms. So these are folks from around the world. And what we were talking about yesterday is what's the disconnect? You know, we have, in the midst of a pandemic, we've got some great innovation, but we've got some fabulous failures too. And so how do we kind of navigate that as educators? And so now here's the thing. Clubhouse, you can go down the rabbit hole, be in a room for 4 hours.
It sounds like it.
I learned that the hard way. I'm sorry, I have to go to bed. So if I'm hosting a room, it's 90 minutes. That's it. And I let folks know when they come in, it's going to be 90 minutes. And then I close the stage so folks can't raise their hand. We're not pulling nobody else up that last 20 minutes so everybody can get a chance to talk, because otherwise you'll be on there 4 hours. But it is so recharging, because you have people coming into that space knowing that it's supposed to be a safe space where you share your truth. But at the same time, you got to kind of monitor it. And it's an all audio app. So you're not seeing anybody's face other than the avatar that they have up.
Right.
So it's pretty, I enjoy it.
So jumping into the conversation that you had about the disconnect, what was like the prevalent thing that folks, pointed to as being like the disconnect in this e-learning environment?
There were definitely some themes that emerged. And one of them was parental engagement. You know, what does that look like? Because parents, everybody got set on their heads, myself included, when you all of a sudden said your kid gonna be at home. So was the parental engagement, how do we engage effectively and how do we support parents? There was the mental health piece for educators and families, because we all in the midst of a pandemic, and sometimes we forget about grace, and we forget that you might need to call your therapist, and you might need to call your psychiatrist and get some medicine. So, there's the mental health aspect of it. How are we taking care of people? There was the mastery versus performance that we're running into with students, because what are we doing? Like, we know that we all weren't trained to do education online. Unless you were doing somebody's K-12, come on now. That's not what I went to school to do. And so how do we navigate that? How do we navigate instruction? How do we navigate our grades? Because we still are accountable, and no one's given us a waiver on these state assessments yet. So there's that aspect to it, so those were some of the things that came out. And then the expectations on educators, the expectation on us versus what really is happening. And what do we need to do? So those are some of the themes that just kept coming out. And it's what's fascinating is it's universal, that you
That's
have
what
the
I'm
same
hearing.
thing resonating.
Mm-hmm.
K-12, higher ed, globally. You have folks jumping in from UK, from Germany, saying the same thing.
Wow.
And it boils down to, we don't know what we're doing. We coming up with plans, but we really are winging it, you know, and hoping that this all works, because we've never had a pandemic before. Not since
Ever. Hello.
and school didn't look like this.
Well, it lasts 100 years ago, you know.
School didn't look
We wasn't here.
Certainly.
Black folks wasn't in school like this.
Right.
Black folks wasn't in school like this.
Right.
So, you know, so those were some of the things.
Rhea, what do you say? What say you in this regard? And you teach culinary arts, which how does one
Right.
teach kids how to cook off the internet without having access to the sanctioned ServSafe kitchens and knives? Like you got folks
Lord.
trying to make cakes stirring with butter knives. What was happening?
Just to track back a little bit, I was under the pressure, thank you, Ms. Precious, because that was a lot more explanation than I have received about the clubhouse. I was getting the other side of clubhouse, the dog. So,
The underside.
I was getting that
More
other
clubs.
I was getting the clubhouse after dark. I was getting those that information. So I am glad to hear that there is actual, you know, some professional benefits that, you know, it entails a whole lot more than just that. So that does sound interesting. And actually, I was on a panel recently about the fervor-filled classroom. How do we keep the passion and the motivate? Matter of fact, that was Saturday. I was on that panel. How do we keep that going, being in this online format? And as I like to pride myself, I'm pretty much always energetic for the most part. And I come in there with the music going, the beats, you know, I get them going. But that is that disconnect because of that computer. And I teach high school. And let me say, I started with special ed first. I just got into culinary arts 3 years ago. So I've been doing 15 years in special ed.
I'm snapping on that. I'm snapping right there for the special ed, right there.
Right, 15 years in special ed. I just got into culinary arts. So I am not the expert as I would be for my other content area because this is fairly still new. So yes, now that we're online, now it's really extra new. So as I was just getting the hang of it, I mean, you know, being an expert in my craft, you know, now we're online and now I have to redo and relearn and figure like I just said, now teaching culinary, you know, through the computer. So obviously, yes, we're using a lot of videos at this time. I do demo. That's why I go to the building. Me going to the building provides another level of instruction because the vibe is different. They see me in the classroom.
Sure.
I'm able to use the kitchen in the classroom and do the demos while they follow along. So, but I can say with high school too, it's a lot different. It's different than the elementary. My nephew is in 7th grade. He is required to have his camera on. He is required to sit there with his face washed and brush teeth and have on a clean shirt and sitting at the table. That's not the case with high schoolers. You know, they may or may not have the cameras on. They're not necessarily required to do so, which I can understand. But and so they may or may not be sitting up in the bed. And here it is, 11:30 a.m. And they're like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy." So it is challenging to get them to even participate. Now, any other time, please, plenty of kids want to love this class and beg to take this class when we're in the building. Now it's like it's lost its luster because we're online. And like I said, they're in the bed half the time. If I say, hey, turn on your camera, let me see your face, beautiful face. You know, they all under the covers. I call them vampires. I always say this is my class of the Walking Dead. I be like, oh, it's the Walking Dead today. Because they always got on, the shades are down, it's dark, it's 12 noon. They got the covers on. So it's like, how are we going to learn if you are still laying down in the bed? You have to trick your body. You know, you get up, you sit up. So it is challenging at this time, but that disconnect is definitely, it's hard to get them motivated. As I was told, let me just end it with this. As I was explaining, it makes sense now. It really does. We're moving or online with the online format. Instead of teaching, be a facilitator. You're more of a facilitator than as a actual teaching.
Teacher.
All right. So, and that's how my perspective started to change. And now I feel a better flow at this time. So
I like that, a better flow, just switching that for you, because you are different. Your teaching persona versus a facilitating persona, that is a different approach. Yeah, that I like that.
So I have just a clarification question in regards to that. So we know that all students have different learning styles, right? And so it was tough even when we were pre-COVID for some students to sit in the classroom environment, if the classroom is too small or if it's too big, or, all these other kind of contributing factors that, may prohibit someone from engaging fully in an educational experience. If you are not like teaching and you're doing more like facilitation, how do you manage, because facilitation means like existing knowledge is present, comprehension, present, and ability to research what you don't know, right? All of that happens in like a facilitated conversation, because I've written down like 4 things since we've been talking, right? This is a facilitated conversation.
Yes.
How do we manage the children who have the low comprehension, who are low on experience and skills, who lack either fortitude or initiative to do the follow-up and the research? How are we ensuring that they still are getting some level of educational opportunity? Or is it just more like exposure, like we are giving it to you and we hope you get it?
Well, for my district, there is a lot of, because they have blocked off 2 hours of the day just for individual or small group. If there is someone that needs, or a couple of people that need some further assistance, instruction, some help with whatever it is, then that is that time allotted for them. Every day, Monday through Thursday, is that 2 hours in the afternoon. On Friday, it's all day. So, because Friday we don't have set classes. Friday is called T-Bird time. And so we are using T-Bird time to provide those students, like you said, that might need some extra assistance, the SPED students, those with IEPs, various students. So we try to give that. But I found that because if I'm talking a whole lot, especially online, and they don't have cameras on, I'm just talking. Okay, so facilitating, that's why I said the teaching, moving more facilitator, allows me to let them do more of talking and me, giving direction for that and working in groups and doing different things. So trying to catch those people in that, so if this child A is quiet, it doesn't really participate, maybe now in the group with 5 peers and I'm out of it, that they are participating now and contributing, saying at that time. So, different things like that, I suppose, can help for those students. But I get what you're saying, definitely. They gotta have the initiative to be able to do it on themselves too. But that's just in general, period. Like whether you're in school in person or not. So you got them kids anyway, period.
We're using a lot of technology. So we're able to, for our younger grades, we're like sending home kits. And we're, of course, they're 1-to-1. And so with that, we're using the technology so that we're pushing out things through Seesaw for our younger kids, Google Classroom for our 3rd, 4th grade up. And with that, we're flipping those screens, taking remote control of it. We're using a lot of Flipgrid, Canva. We're using the technology to help us. And for those kids that still is problematic, we're sending home kits. We're sending home instructional material, so they've got their own in-home kit to work on. And the other layer to that, especially for our special needs students, is we're utilizing our teaching assistants. So they're just calling to make sure, okay, hey.
So they've become tech support?
They've become tech support. They've become kid support. We call them, really they're the smile sunshine group, right? Because I might just need to make sure you're okay. You didn't show up on the Zoom for the last week and a half. First of all, I need to make sure proof of life, there's that. And because, that piece of being able to ensure kids' safety, we're not able to do to the same extent because they're not in our classrooms like that, right? So the first thing is checking to make sure they're okay, that they've got food, shelter. The next piece is checking in on the phone, on the text message, hey, what can I help you with? And walking them through step by step. So we really utilize that support staff tremendously to help with that. And then, like Rhea was saying, we have so most of the districts in the county that I work have their professional development and their meeting day on Wednesdays, and so they're really only in person 4 days a week. So that Wednesday is really, gung ho. Let's make sure we're connecting with the kids that we missed, and making sure that we are just trying to get to them. And we're doing a lot of home visits to try to support.
Yeah.
I went with one of my principals today, and we showed up. Hey, where they at? Where's little Johnny? Where they at? And so we're doing a lot of that, but it boils down to, making sure that we're being creative. Whatever it is we can do to get to them, because we recognize that there is a neurodiversity there with our students that requires, multiple ways of trying to get them to where we need to get to. And then extending grace. I can't say that enough, extending grace. So with my high schoolers, I need them to graduate. So in Michigan, we got personal curriculums. So I can whittle down your requirements down to exactly the bare minimum of what the Michigan Merit Curriculum says you have to have. We doing that because I need you to graduate. Because even in the midst of the pandemic, your diploma is much better than no diploma. So I need you to have that. So it's just really whatever works, and knowing that it might work today, tomorrow it might not. It's all a roll of the dice.
I mean, this is so insightful. So insightful. I wanted to ask each of you, and we can take a moment to think about this, but each of you to think about maybe 3 things that you've quickly gotten your sea legs on about working with families, students, faculty, staff, all around in that way. Maybe 3 things that you are taking away from this experience that you would say, yeah, this worked. Ooh, this was a challenge. And then maybe something that if we're going to be in this for a while, because, folks are not masked up. We now have 3 variants. We're up to 3 now of Rona. So Rona done had babies, essentially. So we got Rona in them. And, what if we're moving forward in this virtual environment, what do we need to really do? And it could be policy level, it could be Comcast level. I mean, whatever it is. So just to take a moment and to think about that. I'm thankful for this conversation, because there's a moment, I think, when people had to be real about what was going on. And that meant everything. This has been a very eye-opening experience, and we've shared this before on previous shows. Schools were not prepared to go into the homes, nor were homes ready to receive schools at home. And so you get a whole different perspective of what life is really like for some of these students. I can remember a friend sharing that there was a child that refused to turn on the camera at home because there wasn't an appropriate place they felt that was clean enough that their other classmates would see. Somebody was on screen one day and a roach was crawling up the background. And, if you're in a K through 12 environment, sometimes, that can be very, heck, it can be stigmatizing for grown folks. I thought I saw a spider in the corner. I darn near killed myself, from embarrassment, and also, what is it, So I can't imagine as an adult feeling like that. And I'm in a meeting, what a child may feel like. Also, there are other issues of management. It still infuriates me. The young man who got expelled because the teacher noticed his camping and hunting gear on the bookshelves behind his head, and it was a BB gun. And so since he's in his bedroom for school, that's technically bringing a weapon to school. And so he has an expulsion on his record.
What?
Yes, and then there's the incident here in Michigan with the young girl who did not have internet access, and was sharing the smart device with other relatives within the home. So don't think because the computer is assigned to your child that they the only ones that's using it. I mean, that's real. That's real, it's been interesting. So who would like to go first?
I really think my big takeaways have to first start in flexibility, because we can create tons of plans. We know that a lot of our regulations have not changed. Like we know that our testing regulations that really are tied to our funding, our special education rules, regulations have not changed, but we have to find flexible, we have to be flexible in how we go about doing things while still staying within the breadth of what the expectation is of those policies. So being flexible and recognizing with that comes acknowledging and honoring the inequalities that are present and how we can best support folks. Parental engagement would be the second piece, because I think a lot of parents just didn't even know what to do. I mean, we are educated.
Right.
I said this last night, look, I knew to look at my son's Google Classroom and where to look, but it's because I've been using Google Classroom from when I was teaching and to now. So I've been using it for almost 10 years. So I know the tricks. I know, oh yeah, you turn it in, that's nice. Okay, now I'm gonna need to open this up and see what you're talking about here. So, but I know that. I can't assume that parents know that. I can't assume that they even know how to turn on the computer and have the same level of proficiency with it that I do. I use it all the time. I'm a doc student, so I have to know how to use it. So I think there's that piece of, and even saying folks will be like, oh, well, we set up this Zoom for the parents. That's nice. I had a whole lot of teachers that had not downloaded Zoom and didn't know how to use Zoom until the pandemic. And so I think that's the piece of, are we truly reaching out to parents and engaging them where they are and then scaffolding them with the skills that they need to be successful in this new environment? And I think that's huge. We got to, if we're expecting stuff of them, we have to equip them. We can't assume that they've got it. So that's not okay. And the last piece is, we got to look at how we measure student achievement. If these kids are able to get themselves up, because mom and dad might be working a 12-hour shift at the plant, so mom and dad not there, or in the living room. So we have to look at how we're measuring that student achievement. If I've got, like you said, the living room piece, I got friends who are educators who have got 3 and 4 kids. They kids on the Zoom at the same time they trying to do their job remotely, and so now, am I going to penalize this kid because the internet isn't working right? How am I looking at how I'm measuring what they're doing? I just heard about someone marking off a kid 30 points for every day they didn't get the assignment in. Okay, really? We in the pandemic. That's kind of absurd. Like, what are you thinking? You talking about your convenience. I need you to stop and extend the grace to the kid. I just need to know, can you do the things, the breadth of what is expected? Am I providing you that experience of the curriculum, knowing that there's no way I can replicate the depth? So my goal has to be, how do I best equip you, one, to be resilient and be able to identify and ask for what you need? And how do I make sure that you have an experience with the curriculum in a way that you can build upon that later when the world opens back up? I think we've got to look at those 3 things, that flexibility, that parental engagement, and just how we're measuring student achievement, and being honest with ourselves that we don't have a rubric for this. We are building this ship while we're flying it.
Yeah. And that's real. And I am appreciative of the school district that my son is in, because they certainly are trying to bridge the gap between the remote learners and the folks who are in school. He goes to a private school, so they have had the option to attend school throughout this whole entire time. And there are students that are certainly there, and is the only one in his class for the most part that's been remote. So they've been communicative and, letting us know kind of things that we need to do. Don't want to call it a complaint, but it's more of a wish list. And because I know that they're busy and they got a lot trying to manage and do all that. I wish there was some way that they were creating an engagement piece for our kid because he's not in school, but he still needs to be with his peers. And there is no outlet for that to happen. And I know that they can't do that every day. You know, it's cold in Chicago, so we can't be outside, but something like maybe once a month where there's like, where all the remote kids get to at least see other children, because I can see him becoming more and more reclusive every month. He, more and more reclusive. And it's like, we have to remind him at some point this is going to be over, child, and you is going to have to go back to the school. And he like, and so then it's like, should remote learning going forward be part of the learning experience anyway? Like, should all classrooms be a mix of in-person and remote learning and trying to figure that out? So to your point, Precious, everything that you said, I certainly agreed with. And that parent engagement, it is just so tough. Even when it was pre-COVID, it is so tough. It is just amazing that there's a place where your children are captive for 6 to 8 hours to 10 hours a day, depending upon what they're doing. And we can't get you to show up. So like, how does that work? And I know that is a missing part in the educational opportunity for the kids, because there is such a separation between school and parent. You talk about the separation between church and state. There's a big separation between school and parent. And I don't know if even in this time, putting us together remotely helped to solve that, because school came to the parent, and you still got separation.
I'm laughing. There are two things one of my friends said. First of all, I owe the teacher a big apology. She was like, I will be the first person with a gift basket when the world does open up. I have seen, she said, I hate to say it, she said, but my kids do some ignorant stuff. She said, they do some real seriously ignorant stuff. You told her how to spell what? You know how to spell that word. You know school does not. Oh, she said, girl, and then her son follows up with, I like you better as just mom. And also the lunch lady. I like you that too. But this, you as teacher, boo. Boo, 1 star, mom, 1 star. She was like, and the feeling is mutual as a student. Girl, and then as Precious was saying, having multiple kids in multiple grades under the same roof, on the same internet, different devices, maybe in the same space, because some kids still share bedrooms with other siblings. You trying to be in the dining room, maybe your spouse, partner, or whomever is in the living room. There's not enough room for everybody to have a room, and that was another thing with the space. So Rhea, we're gonna get to you with your 3 things.
All right. I'm actually, I'm a realist. And so I found out that I sit on the fence. I go both. I go back and forth. I go between the both.
Okay.
All right. So on one hand, I am all about, that's all they talk about in the district is grace and mercy. Extend the students the grace and mercy. And I do all the time. I often ask though, where's the grace and mercy for the teachers? We extend that to the students all the time. But my 3 things are, number 1, definitely what Precious said in terms of flexibility. Yes, I am, as Kai pointed out at the top of the hour, that I am a Quantum Learning Facilitator. We have 8 keys of excellence. I operate completely off of those 8 keys. One of the keys.
Okay, what are they right quick?
Okay, they start from the top to the bottom. So integrity, failure leads to success, speak with good purpose, this is it. You have commitment, you have ownership, you have flexibility, and you have balance. Was that my 8? And so my 3, flexibility, failure leads to success. We've never been in this before. So we're learning,
Right.
we're putting these things in place as we go. And then balance, the balance part. All right, so flexibility, of course, yes. As I said, with culinary arts, now I have to switch things up, be flexible. How can I teach? How can I get this information across using some different methods? And I forgot to mention that we were trying to do recipe kits as well. So trying to put recipe kits together at the school for them to come, for us to distribute and then to come pick it up. However, that was a whole issue in itself because of COVID. You know, some parents don't want things to come home and you know, that other people have touched, or they don't know how it's going to be packed up, or maybe the parent isn't home. So then if that child is cooking at that time, what, you done set my house on fire, oh boo-boo, it's on now. So like, so, you know, it's a whole lot of variables to this. It's a whole lot of variables. And so that makes it even more difficult, but being flexible in this time, absolutely. Failure leads to success. That is actually the key of the month for January. We talk about it every day at the start of class, and I tell them change that F word. The F word should be feedback. That's what that is. It is feedback on what steps need to take place for the next time. So you can be we're always striving to become better versions of ourselves. Failure leads to success, or feedback. We talk about reflection all the time. And then the balance. Of course, we want to take care of ourselves in the midst of all of this. So the balance, you know, we get so inundated with all the new things we should be learning and what we should be doing and keeping up with and so forth. But take time for yourself and to nurture yourself. And hey, get your mind right, get your mind straight, you know, do some things for you as well. Real quick though, we also have a key, this is it, which is focused in on the moment. You know, we like, let's just get back to normal. That is gone. How that is gone. What we're moving into is new. Yep. This is the new normal. Right. It's not what you 2018. Remember when? I mean, yeah, I miss them house picnics too. I really do. I need to be at a house
family
picnic.
reunions.
Okay, but the thing is, we are entering a new era, and so we just today had to complete a survey with the district to ask about how do we want to utilize some of these platforms and different things we're using now in the actual classroom when we return. So they wanted to be able to still utilize some of these platforms. And, you know, besides Google Classroom, you have tons of Pear Deck, just, you know, tons of other. So they are looking towards the future and saying, hey, we might have to, we will adjust then and keep some, you know what I'm saying, make it so to cater to some other needs out there, because we see. But it is just amazing to me. I like I said, and Kaya and I have had, she's had to talk me down off the ledge, but we have had conversations where I am so frustrated with accountability. I am very frustrated with accountability. And like I said, we extend grace and mercy all the time, but does it really take, depending on your household, does it really take a week to do 10 definitions? Like when we say extend grace and mercy, how much are we going to spoon feed these students? Yes, we have different situations going on at home. I get that. I don't like my camera to be on. I don't necessarily want my students to see my house either. However, this is real life. And it's going to be times where we're going to get hit in the gut and we got to keep moving. You have a moment. Yeah, let's cry. Let's get it out. Let's then stand up, hold our chin up and keep moving. So I'm not going to sit here and baby my kid like, yeah, we all in the pandemic. We're all hurting. We got to keep moving. Take the punches, take the hits, and let's go. It's called resiliency. So I'm not going to sit here and baby and be like, oh, well, we've been in it. It's a year now. We've been in it. It so really then is. Now what? So we going to have to pick ourselves up and keep moving. And so that's where I'm on the fence there. Because although on one hand I understand, but then on the other hand, I'm like, hey, let's go. Let's go. Because this is what life is going. What happens the next time you're going to get hit with a big event, a tragedy? Right. There have been people that's third year of school and all of a sudden a parent dies. They got to leave school and not go home. Like it's all kind of things that can happen. You got to be able to have some resiliency. So let's not use the pandemic as an excuse.
Preach. I mean, the doors of the church is open. You better get all your life. Did you hear that? You better get all your life with flexibility, accountability. All right now. Right. I'm gonna find a class right now, Rhea. I'm gonna get busy doing something. I feel like I need to register. I'm doing that master class tonight. But y'all snatched the edges with that commentary. Them 6 recommendations then, plus the 2 bonuses.
I had a quick follow-up question for both of you amidst in regards to achievement. So certainly we're showing some grace and some flexibility around like assignments and all the rest of that. Does that impact grading? Like how do you measure the grades? Is there leniency a bit because we are in this special circumstance, or how is that all, it's like, basically, here go the real question. If my baby got an A in math, is it a real A or is it a pandemic A? That's what I'm trying to understand.
It might be a pandemic.
That's a pandemic A. That's a pandemic A. That's all day.
I mean, where we're at is, we're going to have to look at grading in general. We're going to have to say, are we doing standards-based, where we're looking for mastery, or are we looking at performance? Because we have largely been a performance-driven grading system. Well, we knew already. There was plenty of research that said we should have been at the standards-based. However, this system does not change overnight. So we've been tiptoeing, baby stepping to get there. And now here is thrust upon us that there's no way that you can truly justify performance in the pandemic, because they're not performing. I mean, it's just not the same level. So we really are gonna have to look at a different. So your baby, it's a pandemic A.
And that's on all sides. Look, you done earned this. This is your pandemic report card. This is what we gonna file with the district. These are also your other grades. This is really what it was. Just carry this knowledge forward and know that grace and mercy has followed.
I was a little suspicious. I'm gonna be clear.
I had that conversation with some parents. I said, look at here. I need you to understand. Do you really want us to grade them the way we would normally grade them? Because I'm here to tell you all these kids is failing. So how you want to do this? Because little Johnny gonna be in the 10th grade forever. So how you want to do this? Kindergarten is gonna repeat again if we do this. So we just know that they all lacking. We gonna move them forward. We gonna figure this out, and I think it's gonna really force us to be honest with ourselves about what's really important. What do they really need to know?
What's really important, girl? Come on. We are really in? What is it, Rhea? This is it.
This is it.
This is it. You hear me? This really could be a moment to really revolutionize education. Think about it. This is the one time where everybody is in the same boat. Yeah. I don't care if you're the CEO of your company of $5.9 billion. If you got a child at home, you are figuring out how your child's classroom works. You are figuring out what the educational system is, homework. You back in school, whatever it is. You going to college differently. The child that you sent off to college might be back home and at college in the basement. That's very different, all of those things. Ladies, you all have blessed thine heart tonight. I mean, this has just been outstanding. We done took it to the max, and then a few moments. We thank you for your grace and flexibility tonight.
I just want to know, because we want to end on a light note. Has there been any funny thing that has happened on the Zoom while y'all have either been instructing, facilitating, or share with our audience your funny Zoom story?
Okay, I got hacked in on their first week of school, right? So I didn't.
Oh Lord!
So somebody hacked in. So no, actually this was after school. So and then my son, he's in the Army, right? So and he's all about his guns. He's all about my son is in the National Guard. So he had been deployed, for the Breonna Taylor thing. He had to be out there. So then he had just came back.
Oh, wow.
So he was deployed a few times going to help out with the situation. I'm so glad Trump is gone. Anyway, okay, so he was home, right? So he's in the room. I'm in the I'm at home on Mondays. I go to the buildings other days. So I'm at home on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in class. We're just going. Somebody hacks in. So they getting in there. They cussing. Yeah, you stupid B. Oh, you dumb. When I say G.I. Joe came out the room, my son came with the long guns. Who that talking? Who that want that smoke? I was like, oh. They was like, wait a minute, hold it. It was just okay. I'm like, hey, no. Abort mission, soldier. Abort mission. I had to call my son. Like, what is he? My kid's like, that's your son? Like, it was just so chaotic. But it was just crazy because whoever came in hacked in and they started cussing. My son heard that from the room, came out with them long guns. I said, now what was he gonna do? You shot all in the camera. He like, who
He was gonna
smoke?
shoot that
Who
computer.
He was ready. Do you hear me? I said, abort mission, G.I. Joe, abort mission. So, but oh God. So I've been hacked at least 3 times, but they got it now straight. So they blocked. So, but that was the first time it happened. And one of my students got mad. You don't talk to my teacher like that. They were like, shut up, you stupid B. You don't talk to him. Wait till I see you. I mean, it's just, but I was like, thank you, Corey, for taking up for me. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say.
But thank you.
Right, thank you. So, but that was hilarious. That's my little story.
That is hilarious. I see why you couldn't wait to tell him. I can only imagine the kid's face like,
yes, when he came around like, I was like, no, you got to give me fire.
You know what? We listening. Whatever. What was you saying again?
Right. We heard you. Right.
Look, mine's not that funny. Look, I can't top that one. Because mine was, I had to flip all my PDs because one of the things I do with my job is all the professional development for our for one department of our teachers. So that's about 30 teachers across the county. I was all geek, like I got this all flipped, it's all perfect, it's wonderful, and I got it running, and my internet went out. And I was like, oh snap! And I'm like panicked because it was out for like 2 minutes, and so I'm like, I got 30 people on the thing, and I'm like, well, is it working? And finally it rebooted, let me back in. They didn't even miss me. They didn't even know anything happened. They didn't even know. They didn't even miss me. I was like, well, did I need, y'all didn't even need? Okay, all right. Didn't know I had left the room. I was like, okay, well, yeah, no problem. Like, so mental note, always have a backup internet supply. So I always have it set that my hotspot is live in addition to my regular. So I literally have my work phone and my personal phone hotspots are always live so that I can jump on something in case it all decides to go away and just pray.
That is funny though, because our brother from Shy calls it Mr. Dion Cole Wi-Fi Satan. Wi-Fi Satan be busy. Oh, he be busy. He be busy. This has been completely needed. It has been recharging from the laughs as well as the serious information. We have really taken care of some business here. You know, we're going to make sure there's some people in education that get, the message here. Parents, we got you. But we all trying to do what we can do. Everybody needs some grace, some flexibility. This is the moment right here. Sis, we're going to have them back. You agree?
Absolutely. We have to have a part 2 because I still had a lot of more questions.
Right? We could go there, couldn't we? We could.
Touch policy. Like, we got to go on that policy level because Betsy don't do right. Who was in there?
Bye, Felicia.
Making all these decisions that has impacted education, not just on the primary and secondary level, but all of us who are graduated and the money and just like. I'm just interested in exploring this space even further. So thank you, ladies, for gracing us with your presence and sharing some good information that I think is going to be helpful to parents and educators alike. We are going to go ahead and sign on out of here, but we want people to be able to follow you wherever you are in case they have questions or just want to, drop you a cash app or something because you're doing good in the world, whatever. So we'll go ahead and let people know where they can find you. We'll start with you, Precious. Where can people find you on the socials?
So you can find me on my Instagram. You can find me at Precious Armstrong, Precios, Armstrong the way it sounds, or at Precious J on Twitter. So definitely hit me up. I'm having a blast. I'm loving this connecting, and I'll be happy to rejoin y'all.
And Ms. Rhea, where can they find you if they're interested in getting some of this good advice here?
I heard that. Well, first, let me thank you, too, for the invite. I appreciate being part of such a dynamic quartet. Hey, come on now.
Hey.
Right? All right, but I guess email. I don't really do Twitter as much as I used to. So Rhea, RHEA, at jazzyhannah.com. Jazzyhannah, JAZZYHANNAH.com.
Sis, if they are out here in these internet streets looking for some support because they got too many kids on too many Zooms and not enough breaks for themselves, where can they find you at, sis?
They can find me being an auntie in the village.
Come on.
Come on now. They can find me praying.
Yes.
That he strengthened you through these pandemic streets until we all get out in the world again.
Yes.
You can find me at
Right.
IamJust, Letitia. Letitia. I am goes before just Letitia, because I would be nothing without him. I'd be nothing.
Come on.
Woo. And sisters, they are looking for you. Where can they find you?
They can find me scheduling a parent-teacher conference.
About that
So
pandemic.
I can discuss that pandemic. Hey. And outside of that, you can find me on the socials. I am on Twitter at KaiLovesYou, KaiLovesu. I am on Instagram as KaiLovesYou2. Just add a number 2 to that. We are out of here, y'all. Peace and blessings.
Ooh, bless y'all.
Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. 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 The Pisces life.